Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mngoni Mkonto. Today, I want to talk about something. I want to talk about a, a very serious issue, something sensitive about Black people. I want to talk about why Black people should not vote for the EFF, not because uh, I'm talking about EFF to paint other people uh, wrong, but to this is a critical time of the life of a black man in South Africa, the life of a black person in South Africa. It's a very critical time. If black people are not united at this moment in South Africa, black people will be subjected to another 100 years of slavery again, another 100 or more years of slavery. This has been always the strategy of white people. When black people try and rise, they come up with strategy which will kick the can away, or which will uh, uh, elongate their stay in power. Not just their stay in power, their illegal stay and their terrorist uh, tactics to stay in power. They always come up with those type of ways. So I want to talk about uh, the EFF policies. The EFF policies, the first one which I want to talk about, I won't talk about all the seven cardinal pillars, but I just want to drive a point that we should not trust Julius Malema when he talks about these things, because uh, he's not gonna be able to implement them. He's not going to. It does not mean it. Not is going. It's not going to implement. He's not going to be able to implement. No, he can be able to implement it, but it does not mean it. For instance, the expropriation of land without compensation. Uh, Now, what he says when he talks about expropriation of land without compensation, he says there's no land which will be taken from white people. There's a lot of land which is currently unused, which white people are not using. That land is the one which will be expropriated without compensation if it has an owner, or if it's not owned by government. Such a land is the one which will be expropriated without compensation. But what does that mean in real sense when it comes to land justice? Uh, 70% of agricultural land is under the use of white people, under the control of white people. So what it effectively means, initially, his initial stance was expropriation of land without compensation, meaning the expropriation of the wholesome land, the whole land without compensation. Now, it's no more expropriation of the whole land without compensation. It's expropriation of the unused land. Uh, the one which the white people are currently using, uh, the one which is now currently in agricultural land, uh, you're not going to be able to touch it, because all it's needed from the white people is just to declare usage. It's just to say, uh, I am still using the land, and then the EFF will allow it, the white people to continue their use of the land as long as they declare they are still using the land. The second pillar of the EFF, which is, for instance, industrialization. Then industrialization, when they talk about industrialization, the EFF talk about government started industries. They are not talking about supporting black business. They want to open factories where black people will go and be employed and go and work. They don't want black people to run their own businesses. And what is the reason they want it like that? It's because people who are employed are very easy to control, are more easier to control than the people who run their own businesses. So if you run your own business, then it's difficult for government to put controls on you. But if you are employed or you depend on the social grants, it's very easy to control. So basically, what it means, industrialization, according to the EFF, it means black people will be dependent on the state, either as an employee or as a social grant recipient. That's the industrialization of the EFF. When it comes to education, free education will never be implemented by the EFF. Uh, Julius Malema is now saying, he's not saying free education for all like it's in their constitution or in their founding manifesto. He's now saying free education for the poor. Like he's amending all of those cardinal pillars. Now it's free education only for the poor, not for everybody. So that tells us that Julius Malema can never be trusted, and Julius Malema can never be able to help black people to achieve or to determine their own future or their own fate. If we all vote for the EFF, we are all going to be under slavery. One other thing is, white people are comfortable with Julius. He's invited to the EFF, is now invited to all the propaganda media stations. The white stations are now comfortable. You can hear him talk at Radio 702. You can hear him talk at Cape Talk. All these white owned propaganda machines. Julius Malema is invited to go and debate in those stations, and of which it will never happen with President Zuma, because whatever message that is delivering is not helpful to the to the capital or to the white people. So whatever message that Julius is delivering now is contradictory to what black people actually want to achieve. The EFF for Julius Malema once announced that the EFF will occupy ABSA. I think it was in 2019 or 2018. Now it's 2024. The EFF has never occupied ABSA. The EFF will never occupy ABSA even in the future, because the EFF is now friendly to capital. So I want us to, as black people, because this is very critical time for black people. I want us to look at whether it's not time for black people to unite behind one organization which will represent the needs and the true needs of black people, not fake, uh, not sell out. The EFF has been sold to the highest bidder, the highest bidder. White people now, they love Julius Malema. He's the one who is now promoted to come and lead this country. After this election, I won't be surprised if he's in coalition with either the ANC or the DA. I wouldn't be surprised if Julius Malema goes into coalition that way. So, what do you think? Do you think it's time now for black people to unite behind President Zuma and get a black vote? Or do you think we should continue to be fragmented and continue to hate each other and vote for fragmented parties which are meaningless and which will never change the life of black people, which are just liars? What do you think? Please comment here, and I thank you for listening.